Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. This is episode 2 of Mighty Brad's podcast. And today I got my friend Loren on.
Hello, guys. Loren, nice to meet you.
And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about money, finances. Loren's more an expert in this than I am, so he's going to be doing a bunch of the talking. But Loren, before we get started, you're not going to college, right?
As of now, I'm not.
So what do you plan to do instead?
So really, the plan is, I'm saving up my money I've made from cryptocurrency, and I want to put that towards a down payment on a house, a multi-unit house, where I can live and use that as investment for the long-term future. But there's also consideration of me possibly going to college in the spring semester. Simply, if that doesn't 100% work out, I need some backup, and that is my backup for now.
So what are the steps you have to take to do all that?
Well, obviously, if anyone that's watching this now, they know that the crypto market isn't doing very hot. They know that the stock market's not doing very hot either. And there is talks and words going around that we're possibly going into a recession. And that might be a possibility. That might be a good thing for me because, with higher interest rates, price of houses go down, meaning people that have cash right away in their hands compared to taking out crazy expensive large mortgages. People with cash are the ones that win in this situation because instead of having to get, let's say, a $500,000 mortgage, they could get a $100,000 mortgage with their down payment, and they'll be on a better path to success with that property because they don't have to pay, obviously, a 4% interest rate compared to an 8% interest rate. You're talking about some crazy difference in money each month. That will hurt you in the long run. But right now, I'm just holding the line. I'm just trying to wait and see how long I can take until, this crypto market has to eventually come up. It's been something that's been going on since 2009, and every time it's the same way. Goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. So
right.
Now I'm just waiting for it to go up. Could I have profited everything I made back in December? Like December, early January, I could have, but personally, that would not have been the smarter move for me. I'm okay where I'm, and I'm grateful for what I have.
When did you start investing?
So, when did I start investing? It was January 2017. That is 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was when we were in 7th grade, roughly 13 years old. If anyone also watching this knows, late 2016, very early 2017 was a very high. It was a very peak of the crypto market for that time, and people were making crazy money. People were making life-changing money from that, and it was my dad's friend that told us to, you need to buy Bitcoin, you need to buy Ethereum, and my dad did it, and my dad kind of stepped away from it, and I was the one that pretty much was, all right, I can take this over, and I'm going to invest my money, invest what I have, and just use the account as mine and to grow it as my wealth.
Yeah. I remember back in like 6th grade or something when we were hanging out one time, and you and Max were talking about stocks and crypto and stuff, and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Well,
I would say definitely in 2017, I really had no idea what I was doing. In 2017, I wasn't putting any serious money. Really, 2017, it was $300 that my dad put into the account. And that $300, it went in December. That $300 was worth $1,500. So, obviously it went a long way, but also went down. It also went down a long way before it got there. It went from almost $17,000 for one Bitcoin to the lowest point was roughly $3,000. So, if you can do the math, that $300 was almost nothing at one point, and now it's something more than $300, that's for sure. And yeah, That's about that.
So at that time, were you doing crypto and stocks, or just one?
So I would say I'm informed in the stock market. I know what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing. I know like why stocks go up, why stocks go down, how earnings reports go for companies. If a company makes money, why the stock goes up. But personally, I'm not invested into the stock market with anything.
Okay.
I just look from the outside because I'm more of a crypto investor because I think I wouldn't say it's easier. I'd say there's not necessarily less risk. Not saying there's less risk, but there's less possible chance of out of nowhere the company just instantly just fails and goes bankrupt. There's less risk of something like that happening. And also on top of that, I'm more comfortable losing 10% in one day and then within the next 2-3 weeks making 14% than losing 1% in the stock market and going crazy, because 1% is such a minimal number. But in the stock market, the average return on the stock market is 10% a year. So 10% is not life-changing money, and it's not worth me putting $1,000 just for $100 in a year. And $100, I'll take $100, but I rather take the extra risk, the extra gamble to put $1,000, maybe lose some money, but then at the end of the year, like that $1,000 can easily be worth $2,000, $1,500, $1,700, something like that. Right. And that's something that I'm more comfortable with.
Okay. And so with crypto, there's Bitcoin, there's the different. So can you explain the different aspects?
Okay. So, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. It's pretty much, it was first used as an online currency in exchange between people. It's pretty much taking away the U.S. government, U.S. money, so fiat money, the money we use, dollars, euros, pounds, all of that, taking that away because of the volatility of how the economy's doing and how people just wanted to, they didn't want, the government already controls a lot of our things. People didn't want the government controlling our money. So with that, people felt it was a viable currency for them. And obviously as the popularity went up, the real use of Bitcoin, I will say, even though it's the first, it's the most expensive, but it's not the best. At this point where we stand, Bitcoin itself is just, I would call it pretty much, let's put money into it, let's hope it goes up, because the whole way Bitcoin goes up is, if I hold a Bitcoin, there's less Bitcoin circulation that's going around. So that means the next person, he's buying from a smaller pool of Bitcoin, which means his price is going up. And as we go, when you see the prices go up to where it was almost at its point where it was 70K, there was less circulating Bitcoin. So people that were selling, they were selling at a fair premium because someone wanted to buy. They had to pay the premium of less Bitcoin. The problem with fiat currency, the U.S. dollar, is you can print. I can go to the printing mint and just print money. During COVID, they printed what was over $1 trillion worth of money, something like that, right?
I don't remember.
It was there was crazy amount, billions of dollars just printed and printed and printed and printed. That's where all the inflation came from. Uh-huh. But Bitcoin, there's only 21 million whole Bitcoin out there, and don't get me started with all the lost accounts, all the lost flash drives. There's thousands of Bitcoin that are lost.
Yeah, I heard about some guy who had millions and millions of dollars, but he lost the password or something like that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And there's nothing you could do because it's not controlled by the government. It's not controlled by a company. You can't just say, "Hey, can you give my Bitcoin back?" You just can't do that. But exactly the point is, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. With all the Bitcoin that were lost, and not not all 21 million have been mined yet. I think we're sitting around 19 million. And even though it sounds like 19 million, 21 million, every time a Bitcoin's mined, the process of mining another one becomes almost twice as hard. The process becomes harder and harder and harder and harder and harder, making it more expensive to buy. So to get to from where we at 19 million to 21 million, it's going to be almost, I think they say, roughly calculate 120 years.
Why is it so difficult?
The reason it's so difficult is because Bitcoin is really just mathematical equations on a computer. So when you're mining, it's really how fast can your computer process the math problems, and if it can get the math problems correctly, you get rewarded with Bitcoin. That's how it was originally made. So, back then, say 2009, you could mine Bitcoin and you could easily get 10, 20, 30, 40. I remember seeing online there was websites where you complete survey and they give you a Bitcoin. It was very easy to get, and now as the popularity became higher and higher, became so much harder to mine it.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember they have or used to have like warehouses full of like different...
Yeah, they have warehouses full of just computer GPUs. That's why if anyone remembers, a couple of years ago, you couldn't buy a GPU for your computer. They costed crazy money. People would buy them and sell them because all the crypto miners wanted the highest, most expensive, powerful GPUs, and it worked. It worked for them. But then you're left with people that want to build computers. They can't build their computers because you're not going to build a crazy expensive computer and then have the cheap GPU.
Right. So moving on a little bit, to tell us a little bit about the Metaverse, because I'm not very...
So, the Metaverse, I will say, Metaverse ties into crypto a lot, but the problem I have with the Metaverse is it's Facebook. I think Facebook is trying to normalize the term Metaverse and have their company be the Metaverse. Right. If you look now, if you open Facebook or open Google, it's not by Facebook anymore. It's by Meta. They changed their name to Meta. And the problem I have with that is because what they're doing is nothing new. It's nothing crazy. If you look, there were AR games. There were AR games where you could you put on your headset and you go into a lobby with a bunch of people from around the world and talk to them and play online games. That's been around. But they're terming the word Metaverse like that. It's really the same thing, but the only difference now is with their Metaverse, or with other popular examples of Metaverses, you use crypto as a currency inside the Metaverse. So if you really think about it, it's just any game. You're just playing a game with fake currency. If you really think of like, that's a funny example. If you think of Fortnite, if it was a AR game, and you put on a headset and you bought V-Bucks with US dollars and you bought a skin for your character, let's say it costed you $10, you could have just been spending $10 worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum and bought a skin for your character. When other people see that skin. Right. So if you think Fortnite's a good example of that, simply because of how it's like, so it's pretty basic in Fortnite terms. Yeah.
So when people talk about it, like people talk about like buying property and stuff like that, it sounds to me like people are trying to make it like a new reality.
Yeah. This also ties into NFTs. If you've heard of NFTs, I would assume they're very popular last year. People are trying to make it another reality because pretty much what people believe is that one day you're just going to be able to wake up out of your bed, go to your desk, put on your headset, and then you're in a meeting room with 10 other people in your business, in your company, in your business, and yeah, that's what people think is going to happen. So the whole point of having this virtual properties, virtual art, as much as this world, this is your reality. You buy a house. Hey guys, look at my house. You buy a car. This is my car. You have art in the wall. It's the same way as online. Online, you have an image and name online. People know you as Bradley online. Some people only know you from online. And those people, that's the only thing they can see. They see that you have this virtual house. That's the only thing they can see. That's your property because you're the only one that owns that. Right. Same thing with the art. Same thing with all the NFT clothing, all that stuff. It's all just tied into that.
Yeah.
It's just, you're right. It's trying to make a virtual reality. It's just trying to make a virtual reality of your life, and it's almost trying to make a fake life of yours, thinking of all your nice things you have online, but in reality you don't have it.
Right.
But it comes at a premium, though. It's not like you can buy a virtual house for $1. It's like some of these properties cost thousands of dollars, and it's just really what I think it is. I think it's just rich people just trying to throw cash into useless things and hoping something will happen.
So like, what happens with someone who doesn't have that much money in reality, and then they just try to spend like so much money in like virtual reality and in the metaverse and stuff like that? Then they're left in they have that as their life, and then in real life they just have enough money to like put food on the table and survive.
Yeah. So that's the fear. That's the fear that people have because the way Facebook Meta wants to make the metaverse is where you don't have to do anything outside the world. You put on your headset, you go to work, like you go to work. You're doing work inside the metaverse. You can go to a fake, like a bar, you could call it that, call it a club with other people. You go to the shopping mall and buy clothes for you to wear. And then at the end of the day, you take it off and you go to sleep, and that's it. That's the fear. That's the fear that's going to happen to people that have no outside life.
Yeah, and I mean that it's for somebody who, let's say, someone's already addicted to like video games in reality. That sounds like something that someone can really get addicted to.
Oh yeah. If you think of people that just play video games all day and they're sitting at a computer. What's the difference of them looking into a screen and having the headset on and then now you put the headset on and you unlock so many more possibilities? Yeah. That's a very big concern, especially how, addicted people are to their phones and technology. It's just another thing that there will be a generation of people that are gonna only see the life through a headset.
Yeah. That to me is pretty insane. Because how would you... Because you can't really feel anything, right? Exactly.
I mean,
I'm sure they're going to invent stuff.
As for what I saw online, I see people, like, companies are making, like, full-on suits.
Where you can feel
where anything. You're feeling, like, touch, heat, cold, and that's, like, kind of crazy to me how, you're going to feel... If someone touches you in the... Like, in a lobby... or work, you're gonna feel that. It's just creepy to me.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the movie Ready Player One.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
But I think there's so many movies in society and everything that like predicts real life and stuff like that.
Of course.
Which is pretty crazy, and it kind of makes me think like, is some of this stuff planned? Like they knew this was gonna happen 50 years ago, and then they're just like.
I think that. See what you said. I think humans are so predictable. I think we're so predictable in what we do that 30 years ago, or even, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, where they make these futuristic scenes and see what happens, it's just like humans evolve and our technology evolves. It's like, I guess it's just like,
It's like, yeah, this is probably going to happen, but as of right now, it's going to entertain people as like a fantasy.
Yeah, it's just like, the number one thing in this world is how can companies and big corporations, how can they entertain you? How can they control you? How can they make money from you? How can they just make you their slave, really? Yeah.
So Bitcoin, it started out as, no company, no nothing.
No.
So since the metaverse is now basically Facebook. It's owned by a big corporation. Are you worried about in the direction that this is all going to go?
So really, Bitcoin. See, Bitcoin is not. I wouldn't say Bitcoin's tied into the metaverse.
Okay.
Because all of the metaverse. It's gonna be funny how I say this, but all the metaverse is, like, there's Facebook's metaverse. There's this metaverse called Sandbox, which is like, it looks like a Minecraft kind of game.
You just like build whatever.
Where you build whatever, but it costs, like, you use real, like, crypto.
Yeah.
And they have their own cryptocurrency you buy. So Bitcoin isn't necessarily going to be the currency of the metaverse. It's going to be other cryptocurrencies that are tied with those metaverse. Whoever makes it is going to be the currency.
Okay, that makes sense. And so moving away from the virtual stuff a little bit.
Sure.
So nowadays, how do you think kids view and use their money? Like, do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad?
So, I feel like I have a different perspective. I feel like I see money in a different way than other people, and I see how other people view money, and to me, it just seems wrong. I see, like, for example, my sister, she views cash as absolutely nothing. She says when she spends cash, she feels like she's not spending any money because it's not dialing the number back in her bank account. When she opens her phone, it's the same number. So the cash she's holding in her hand, if she spends it, it doesn't touch her bank account. It doesn't affect her. And I see that with a lot of people. And I feel that is just not right. Because even, yes, debit and cash, even though technically they are the same thing, because it's just money. If I hold $1,000 in my hand or I hold $1,000 on a debit card, you're still spending it. But the problem is with debit cards and credit cards is I feel less guilty going to the store, swiping my debit card. I'll swipe my debit card all day, put it online all day, rack up all these bills, all these purchases, and not feel a thing. But when I hold $100 in my hand and I spend that 100 and now I'm left with 20s, 10s, and 5s, I'm like, crap, it's not $100 anymore. And people, now that $100, you're gonna rethink your decisions. You're gonna rethink your purchases. You're gonna say, do I really want to spend $25 on this? What is the value of this to me? Am I really gonna use this? Can I use this in the long term? Like, that's why there's so many mindless purchases with online.
Mm-hmm.
and through the people go through the store and spend hundreds of dollars because they don't feel the pain of spending money. It's a credit card. It's a plastic card that has no number on it. You put it, you tap it on a screen, and then there you go.
And you get your stuff.
You get your stuff. I don't have to check my bank account. I know how much money I have in there. So that's the problem with people like that. But the other point of view is spending cash is not a terrible thing. It's okay to go out and have fun. It's okay to go on vacations. It's okay to treat yourself. The problem becomes when you excessively spend and you don't save your money, and you're pretty much throwing out money into useless things when you could make that money into more money and use that money to benefit yourself, use that money to help you, because there are thousands of people that are paycheck to paycheck in America, thousands of people. And when you have no money in your bank account, and God forbid, your car breaks down, what are you going to do? You have to go to work. You have to go home. You have to go to the grocery store. But now, since you didn't save any money, you have zero money to your name, you can't do anything because you put yourself in a you put yourself in a spot where you can't do anything. You're at a disadvantage and
you're vulnerable.
You have no money. If you, let's say out of nowhere, you break your arm, how are you gonna pay the bills for a cast and all the medical bills and everything? You can't, because the way you set up your life, your $1,000 for rent, this money for food, this and this, equals the same amount of money is on your paycheck. And so you're making no value for yourself. And for the long term, people don't realize you can't just keep going on and on and on and on, because you don't want to be doing the same thing for 50 years and not have any value to your name, because that's just pointless. If you can't build your own wealth and build your name and build who you are, you're putting yourself back right away.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who I talk to, and I see videos online of like interviews of people, and they're like, interview people between like the age, like they're teenagers to like their mid-20s, and like, how much money do you have in the bank? And they're like, oh, 1 cent. And like nobody saves any money, and everyone spends it all.
It's just crazy, because like, how could you feel comfortable with that amount of money? Obviously, there's people that are not as fortunate as other people, but when there's people that are privileged enough to have the money just to go and throw it away into useless things, that's the problem. If you're at an advantage to other people, where you can go to work, get a job, make money, save money, and you just choose to not build any platform or any foundation for yourself, you're just letting that potential go.
Right. And so what can people do to essentially make their money work for them with like investments?
Well, exactly. That's something I wanted to say was, instead of you working for your money, you need to make your money work for you. If every week you get a paycheck, you need to put a portion of that money. Obviously, you need to save some of the money. You need a portion of your money. You need to invest that. You need to put that to something where, even if you invest $50 every week, you will make some money in the long term. It doesn't matter if it's $5 or $10. You need to make that money work for you, because right now, your money and my money that's sitting in a bank account, as we speak, is losing money, because how inflation's going up with a debit, with our savings accounts, we get 0 interest rate back. So if 10% interest goes up and we get 0 interest rate back, we're losing 10% of our money every year. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, why would you want to lose 10% of your money when at the minimum you could make 10% of your money more every year? And so people don't really view that. People don't really see how letting your money sit and just holding it is actually hurting you, instead of using it for, it can even to start a small business. When I say start a small business, I know there's lots of people that have a truck, put a lawnmower on there, and go on people's doorbells and ask, can I mow your lawn? You know, if you make $150 a day, that's all you really need at that point. You know, it's a small business. You really didn't put any money into it, but that money you put in is now working for you, because you're building your wealth and you're growing yourself as a person.
How do you think like school affects the way people view money and spend it?
I think school not only does it affect how people view money and spend it, school doesn't teach people how to view money and spend it. The problem with school is we're in school for such a long time. If you really think about it, we're in school for such a long time where we're not really thinking about money until right at the cusp of you need to start thinking. Because like all throughout elementary and middle school, you learn nothing about any financial systems. You don't learn about anything. You hop into high school, you take one semester worth of financial literacy. So if you're a freshman, you take financial literacy first semester, and then now you have 3.5 years of not learning anything about money, and then you're thrown out of high school. It's like, all right, please sign here. You're about to put on $100,000 worth of student loans, and as an 18-year-old kid, you can't even fathom what $100,000 is. You don't see that $100,000 is worth more than really worth more than $100,000. You don't view, because people say, oh, I'm going to get this job, I'm going to have a starting salary of $70,000, and I'll pay off my student loans in 5 years tops. But then I realize, what about your bills? What about all your payments on everything? And then people become comfortable and they realize, oh, I'll just put the minimal payment on my student loans, and you're stuck with that for 30 years. You know, instead of really seeing, you need to get rid of it, because all the interest rates coming from student loans, I remember looking this up, if you get a $100,000 student loan, within 30 years, that's like, with the rates go now, it's like, I think 20 or 30 years, it's like, you're going to be spending almost $150,000. So you're just sitting there, just asking for more money.
Yeah.
Asking to, I want to spend more money. When really, it shouldn't be like that. You know, I don't think the school prepares you to say, okay guys, are you ready to take on these loans? Because if people really saw the downsides and the flaws of having to take on student loans, no one would take them. People are just so pressured and so, I won't say forced, but really they're pressured and forced to say, you want to get this education, you need to spend this money.
Yeah.
And obviously there's people that are more fortunate than others, but there's a lot of people where they have to take the loans. And, you know, going away from student loans, school doesn't teach you about how to really use your money and how, you know, when I got my first job, I'm going to go away from how the school, but when I got my first job and I was getting paid, I think it was less than $8 an hour. It was less than $9 an hour. Today people are making $15 an hour. You know, when I got my first job, you know, I get my paychecks every week. It was like $200 a week, right? I thought it was good money. But then I got this what really hit me was I got a $200 a week paycheck. It was like $50 a day, all right? I go out to eat with my friends. Let's say I go out to a nice restaurant. Sit down, eat, tip, everything, all taxes, your meal, your tip, everything. I spend like $35. And then we go out, let's say we go out and get dessert, this, whatever. Almost rack up $50 in one night. I'm not saying that's a lot of money, but then I thought to myself, did I just sit at work for 9 hours just to spend it all in one go? People don't realize that. They're trading away their time for money. And that's a problem, because when you see that, you realize your whole life you're just chasing time. You're either chasing time or you're chasing money. If you're chasing money, you don't have time. If you're chasing time, you have no money. And that's really there's no way around it. There's no way you can't say it's not true, because if I made $10 an hour and I go to Wawa and I spend $10, that I just wasted an hour of my life.
Your time that
it's an hour of my life I'll never get back. When really you need to find out, like, is that really what you want to do? Is that really something that you can sit down and say, oh, I'm okay to sit at my desk for 40 hours a week, and then that's it. I'm going to sit at this desk for 40 hours a week and, you know, hope to make a good amount of money. But then when you divide everything up, you realize that your dinner, it's costing you hours, and those hours you'll never get back.
Right.
I don't think school really implements that mindset into people. So people say, oh, I made $300 this week, I'm going to go spend it. Instead of saying, I made $300 this week, I'm going to save it, I'm going to invest it, and hopefully I can make that $300 into $400, and then in the long term, I can save that money into more important things besides pretty much garbage things that entertain you now and that don't entertain you later.
Right. And, you know, the school doesn't really teach you that much about money. And who's the public schools owned by? The government.
They're owned by the government, and the government is pretty much... The government, if you really think about it, and if you go sit in the classroom, since elementary school, first grade, we're always taught to sit down, be quiet, not talk to the people next to you, raise your hand when you want to talk. They pretty much, it's kind of odd saying this, but pretty much schools are teaching you to pretty much be a good, ideal worker for a corporate job. They're teaching you to not talk to the people around you, be quiet, focus on your work, so that 20 years down the line, when you're in a corporate job, you don't talk to your coworkers, you're sitting down talking, you're looking at your work, and that's it. That's the only thing that you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And it's fucked up, because that's pretty much what they want. That's what they want. They want to make the best workers, and that's the way they do it.
Right. Just so you can work for a job that doesn't really care about you, and you're just making them more money.
Yeah,
and you get this much of that money.
You're working for their dream, not yours.
Exactly. So I mean that just goes back to, I was talking about this on the podcast before, when we're kids, we're so creative and we all like have these dream jobs and everything. And then once we reach a certain age, our parents and everyone else tells us this, they're like, no, that's not real. That's not realistic. But it's important to whatever you're passionate in, to follow that, because
of course.
Essentially, if you don't, then that's where you're gonna end up. You're gonna end up working for someone else's dream instead of yours, and then you're gonna reach the end of your life, and then you're gonna be like, shit.
Yeah, you're gonna live a life of regret, because as much as how good money is and how people enjoy expensive things and enjoy expensive lifestyles, there's people that make almost no money and live much happier lives than rich people. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. If what you do makes you happy, and it can provide you enough money for you to live, and for you to be able to wake up every morning, eat food, live your life, be able to go to sleep with a roof over your head. Doesn't matter if the roof of your head is in an apartment, it's a house, if it's a van, if it's your car. If you're happy with what you're doing, you just gotta keep doing it.
Yeah.
And you can't listen to what other people are telling you to do. Other people are telling you got to get a real job, you need to make real money. But if that doesn't make you happy, why would you sign away 30, 40 years of your life working for someone else if that's not making you happy?
Right.
And that's just what makes people all miserable, stressed out. That's just a problem. That's something that people don't think about until it's already too late.
Yeah. And there's a decent amount of people that are quote unquote rich and millionaires and stuff.
Yeah.
But like the type of money they're making, and you see their lifestyle on social media and everything, and it looks so great and everything. But I've heard a few rappers like literally say in interviews, like they're like, yeah, I have all these cars and all these stuff, but like I have to rap every single day and keep putting out music, because if I don't, then I'm gonna go broke.
You don't make money.
I can't miss my payments.
Yeah. See, there's a problem with society today. It's the online social media. Fake it till you make it. Look at me. I'm so successful, so rich. Look at my 2-week vacation I took in Greece. Look at me. But then at the end of the day, they don't have real money. They're putting out a persona that they wear these nice clothes, nice luxuries, drive a nice car, and at the end of the day, they have monthly payments on those expensive bags and clothes. Their car is leased, and they're barely paying their mortgage, or they're even renting a place. They have no real wealth. They have no real wealth, and they're just trying to. They don't care about them. They just care about everyone else.
Right.
And if that's a life you want to live, by all means do. But that's a life I can't live. I can't live a life where I'm so focused around what everyone else is thinking, where I need to sacrifice myself, when I can just focus on myself, have what I have. Doesn't matter if I'm wearing Gucci and Louis Vuitton or if I'm wearing Champion. It doesn't matter. If I can just focus on myself, the real success for people like that is the number in their bank account. So it doesn't matter if you're wearing all this stuff and driving these nice cars and this. If you have a zero in your bank account, you're not wealthy.
Yeah. And and people who like want that luxurious lifestyle and everything, like, people don't realize that like life situations change, like your business could go under, you lose your job.
Yeah.
Like, shit happens sometimes.
Of course.
And, I mean, I feel like none of us really think about it. Of course, it's good to look at the positive and the positive outcome and stuff, but, I mean, stuff still does happen.
Of course.
And we don't really look at that. And there's also, like, this fear of not being successful, but everyone's definition of success nowadays seems to be that luxurious lifestyle, getting all those girls, having this money, being able to do that stuff, and just look nice.
Yeah. See, it just brought up a good point about being successful. I want you to tell me if this is successful or not. Think of a 22, 23-year-old, all right? Just graduated college, is looking for a job, $100,000 student debt, doesn't really know what kind of, went through college, but still doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just trying to find a job that will take him. Would you say that person is successful? No. But then you look at the other end of the spectrum. This is again tying back to how the government and how the people above you want to shape you into their ideal person. Because an 18-year-old could go to the bank and say, I want student loans. Give me $100,000. No problem, pen and paper, sign it. And then I go to the bank, I say, I want to have a small business loan. I want to start a business. They'll say, get the hell out of here. You're not qualified for this. Please leave. Because they want to promote, you go to school, you go get a job, and that's it. They don't want to promote people that want to sacrifice their time, start a business, grow their wealth, grow their money, and be successful for themselves. Because why would they want you to be successful for yourself when you can be successful for other people? So then that person who's $100,000 in debt, just graduated college, everyone's eyes, oh, he's a successful person. He just graduated college, he's about to get a job, but then me, another person, oh, he didn't go to college, he's, he doesn't have anything going on for him, but he's, at the end of the day, he can go to sleep, smile on his face, because he knows he's building a life and a lifestyle for him that will work for him, and that will, in his eyes, will become successable.
Right.
But everyone will look at that kid and say he's not successful. But the one that's in debt, he's successful.
And I really think everything in society, the way they brainwash us to think, is it's so centered around caring about what other people think, that people genuinely live their entire lives doing what other people want for them instead of them.
Yeah. See, I just agree with that. Like, because like if you think about school, went through 12 years of school, every day you always thought about, do I look good? How do other people look at me? Am I popular? Am I not popular? Can I talk to these people? Are they just going to hush me and tell me to leave? You're not cool for us? Like, you always care about what other people think, but then, you can never think about yourself. You never think about, how do I want to look? How do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? You just want to be like everyone else. And everyone else is trying to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
But we can never find you can never find who you want to be like that one person.
Right, because people go throughout their days trying to please other people, but then when you go home at night and you sit and you look up at the ceiling when you're trying to go to bed, you'll overthink about everything, because it's like, why am I even alive? What am I doing?
Of course.
And it's just been programmed in us, just like so many other things, ever since we basically came out of the womb.
Yeah. And listen, going away from that for a second, what I was saying earlier, I'm not saying college is bad. Don't go to college. Don't do what makes you happy. If you know going into college that you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an engineer, you want to do something that needs a degree, by all means, I encourage you. If you tell me you want to be a doctor, right now, you want to be a doctor, you're saying yes, thumbs up, double thumbs up. I'm going to go 4 years undergrad, 4 years med school, residency, please, I want you to become a doctor. Because you know what you want to do. I know kids that went to Rutgers. I know a kid that went to Rutgers, and going into his junior year, he still couldn't decide what he wanted to do. He was jumping around through majors and this. He couldn't decide what he wanted to do. You know, why go to Rutgers for all that time, spend all that money? You go to Brookdale and get all the... You could almost get the same education in Brookdale. Like, the first 2 years of college, it doesn't matter where you go, it's the same curriculum. You're not learning anything that's specific, crazy specific towards your major. So it's just like, if you know going into it, at the end of the day, this is what I'm going to be and this is who I'm going to be, and go for it. I'm not saying not to. But at the same time, there's people that are going to say, I'm going to business school because I want to start a business. I'm going to become an entrepreneur. But at the end of the day, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to start a business, you just need to do it. You need to go out there, express yourself, show yourself. You need to start businesses. Like, obviously, I'm saying start businesses. In your mind, you're thinking starting these massive businesses, the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm talking about something. You need to start something. You need to start out small, make yourself up, build yourself up. If you could start, for example, a car detailing business with a one pressure washer and one pickup truck that you had, and a couple bottles of soap, and you can start charging people $75, $50 a wash, whatever. At one point, you're gonna get to a point where so many people want to have you because you're a trusted, reliable person, where you're gonna say, I need to hire someone to come with me and help me. And then, obviously as time goes, now that one person you hired, now you have an LLC, now you just bought a company truck. Now you have another person going out working for you in this. And, it's a long, painful process. I'm not saying I've experienced that. It's a long, painful process, but that's just what you have to do. You going to business school doesn't mean you're going to walk out of your business school, be able to start business, because you're just not passionate in anything you do. You can't be passionate in any business.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you're sitting in class, your professor, he's teaching you. If that person, he's teaching about business, why is he in a classroom teaching about business? But why is he not in the real world having his own business? Why is he not running his own business? If he has all this knowledge, yes, he might want to share the knowledge to everyone, but is he really a successful business person? Someone that's trusted and knowledgeable in business, where he's came to the point where, I'm just going to become a college professor and teach business. If any business person was successful, any entrepreneur was successful, they're not going to say, I'm just going to push my business to the side, I'm just going to become a college professor. No one would do that. It just doesn't work like that, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of like choosing your pain, essentially, like starting a business on your own, going through all that, those long steps, all that time, all the stuff you have to do. Sure, it's probably going to be difficult and it's going to take you a lot of time, but compare that to working at some corporate job that you hate anyway, and you're spending all your time doing that. That's painful too.
Yeah.
So painful. Why not choose the one that could get you somewhere,
exactly,
and the one that you're actually passionate about?
Exactly. So
why not choose that over something that you don't care about at all?
Yeah, of course.
So, I think that's about it for today. I think we covered a bunch of
stuff.
Is
that it? All right.
So, thanks for coming on, Loren.
All right, thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. You taught me a little bit about
I hope I did.
Finances.
I hope I did. My Instagram, shameless plug, is Loren Gunin, Loren, and Gunin. That's about it for me. I hope whoever's listening to this, I hope someone learned something, because, this knowledge I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm a professional, I'm not an expert, but knowledge is knowledge. If it's right, it's right. That's all I'm gonna say. If I'm not right, then I'm not right. But if you can agree with anything I said and you can take that somewhere, that's just really the goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. All right, so we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.